The class of 2013 has selected Mr. Tenny Dewey to be this year's speaker. Tenny is a member of our Northwest Social Studies team. He's been a member of our staff since 1993, and he's taught in Blue Valley since 1988. He earned his undergraduate degree from Graceland University in Social Studies and his master's in education from Drake University. Tenny and his wife, Marcia, have a son, Kyle, and a daughter, Devin. Class of 2013, I give you Mr. Tenny Dewey.
Thank you very much. You know, unless you've been a Blue Valley Northwest graduate, you don't know what went on the hour before we walked through the tunnel down there. You don't know how we teachers form two lines, a tunnel if you will, and get to greet these people and say goodbye to them one last time. And you know, I just want to say, a lot of you folks, we just taught with, we just spent this semester together. For some of us, it's been 6 months since we've worked together. For some of us, it's been over a year. But seeing you this past hour was such a pleasure. It brought back so many wonderful memories. I want to thank you for making what I do so enjoyable. And Lindsay, wherever you went, I agree with you. You folks are an amazing class. Thank you for this opportunity one last time to be able to talk with you. You know, as I've listened to graduation speeches through the years, I've noticed that the speakers always include different quotes in their presentations. Well, I've got 3 quotes for you from a diverse group of individuals: Albert Einstein, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Jim McKay. Einstein's quote I first saw on a poster hanging on the wall in Miss Stolman's room however many years ago. Einstein's quote read, "Imagination is the beginning of creation." I was reminded of that quote a few weeks ago when I was watching a golf tournament on television. One of the best golfers on the PGA Tour was asked if he had any superstitions, and he said, "Yeah, I sure do." He said, "Part of my superstition involves collecting old coins." And he said, "I just don't look for any coins. I look for coins from the 1960s. And in particular, I look for coins from the year 1965, 1964, 1966. He said, "You see, I use these as markers for my golf ball when I mark my golf ball on the green to pick it up and clean it, and then know where to replace it before I putt." And he said, as I look at that coin, I focus on the last 2 digits on that coin, that 65, or that 64, or that 66. He said, I want that score ingrained in my mind because that's the number I want to see on my scorecard at the end of the round. I know if I shoot a lot of scores, I know if I shoot a lot of rounds in the 60s, I'm going to make a fantastic living out here on the tour. I want to be able to see my score in my mind, and then I want to go out and shoot it. Imagination, it's the beginning of creation. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know what comes to mind when you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Perhaps it's politician, having been the former governor of California. Maybe it's that of being a celebrity. When I think of Arnold, I think of a bodybuilder. I remember Arnold when he was a 19-year-old. He immigrated from his homeland in Austria to our country, the United States, to engage in professional bodybuilding. The highest title that a professional bodybuilder can achieve is the Mr. Olympia title. Arnold was amazing. He won 6 of these in a row, and then at the age of 25, he retired. He was retired for 5 years, and 5 years after his retirement, the Mr. Olympia title that year was going to be held in Sydney, Australia. Arnold showed up in Sydney, Australia. People ask him, "Arnold, what are you doing here? Are you going to be sitting up in the stands? Are you here as a fan to watch the competition? Or are you working for one of the media outlets? Are you here covering the competition?" And he said, "No, I'm here to compete. I'm going to win. I want to prove once and for all that I am the greatest bodybuilder of all time. To make a long story short, Arnold did win, and after his victory, he was interviewed. The interview was shown on ABC's Wide World of Sports, and sportscaster Jim McKay was doing the interviewing. He started off his interview by saying, "Arnold, my gosh, this is amazing. You've won 6 Mr. Olympia titles in a row. You retired. You came out of retirement and have won your 7th title. Now you say you've retired for good. You truly are the greatest bodybuilder of all time." Jim McKay paused then and looked into Arnold's eyes and asked this question: "So, what are you going to do now with the rest of your life?" Arnold, in that thick accent, said, "Bagoda is to become the #1 bodybuilder in the world." If you would like a translation, he said, "My goal now is to become the #1 box office star in the world." And then he continued to elaborate. He said, "The way I'm going to do that is the same way I dominated the profession in bodybuilding. I'm going to see my goal, and then I'm daily going to go about doing those things to live into that vision." Arnold created his action plan. First on his list was to work with a speech therapist. He needed to work on his enunciation of the words of the English language so audiences would understand what he's saying. Next on his action plan was he sought out our country's leading drama instructor, and Arnold began taking acting lessons. Finally, on his action plan, Arnold began attending functions, ceremonies, and parties in which the major producers and directors in Hollywood attended. Arnold began to meet these people and mingle with them. Less than 4 years after Arnold's stated goal of becoming the #1 box office star in the world, he had achieved that. Based on box office receipts received from movie theaters worldwide, the movie industry cited Arnold as being the #1 box office star in the world. Arnold imagined his goal and then daily went about doing those things to live into that vision. As I look out at you folks, I see so many of you that have imagined. Our softball team imagined qualifying for the state tournament and then daily went about doing those things to live into that vision. Our boys' tennis team imagined placing in the state tournament and then daily went about doing those things to live into that vision. Our boys' basketball team imagined being state champions and then daily went about doing those things to live into that vision. Our high school's We the People government class imagined hearing their names read at the national competition in Washington, D.C., and then daily went about doing those things to live into that vision. And it doesn't stop there. So many of you have imagined from DECA competitions to journalism and broadcast competitions, from swimming competitions to soccer competitions, from the artwork created in the 500 hall of our high school to the wonderful music that we heard played tonight and throughout the school year, and the plays that we've watched in the little theater. Some even imagine receiving a presidential scholarship. All of you folks out here, at some time or another in your high school career, imagined, and then you daily went about doing those things to live into that vision. You've heard my 3 quotes. Albert Einstein, "Imagination is the beginning of creation." Arnold Schwarzenegger, "See your goal and then daily go about doing those things to live into that goal." If I may finish by posing to you the question asked by sportscaster Jim McKay: So, what are you going to do now with the rest of your life? Just imagine. Thank you so much.